Some 15 years ago, my partner Michael Steinhardt and I had some kind of a dream. And when we put the dream into action, the dream was called Steinhardt's Silliness and Bronfman's Blunder. In fact, one of the amusing things, even then, was to read all the columns in all the newspapers saying, what are those two idiots doing? Well, we got lucky. We've had great, great colleagues. We've had great, great funders. And the result, I'm going to ask you a question. The question is, in the 15 years, how many do you think have been on Birthright? How many have exercised their birthright? Anybody? How much? How many would say 50,000? Hands up. Do I hear 50? Do I hear 75? We're going to do a little auction. Do I hear 100? No? How many? You're right. 500,000. And Michael and I had the joy of meeting Miss 500,000, whose story is not unlike that of the rabbi who just spoke. It was a wonderful thing. We met her in Tel Aviv in June. It was great. So on behalf of all those, the wonderful funders, the wonderful colleagues, the wonderful madrichim, the wonderful tour educators, the wonderful organizers, of everybody who has to do with Birthright, I thank you for this wonderful and very meaningful award. Rabbi Eisendrath, he was an amazing man. He led your organization for 30 years. One of the innovations that he did was to move headquarters from Cincinnati to New York. He happened to choose 838 Fifth Avenue, opposite Temple Emmanuel. Some years later, the late 1990s, the building was sold and it was condominiumized. You guessed it. It's about the size of the Jewish world. I live at 838 Fifth Avenue. My living room was Rabbi Eisendrath's office. In 1973, at the end of his 1973, I'm sorry, at the end of his life, Rabbi Eisendrath wrote, and I quote, "The world needs Judaism, its compassion instead of the machismo of today's violence, its optimism in the face of despair, its compassion in the face of human callousness, its reverence for the life of the mind in defiance of emotionalism run riot, its love of learning and passion for justice, its hunger for peace as the apex of God's kingdom, and its partnership with God in setting the word aright." Those words, done over 40 years ago, and said over 40 years ago, and written over 40 years ago, could well be said today. I wish, and I'm sure he would have wished, that those words would have come to fruition. They have yet to do so. But I'm deeply grateful for this award, and I include you in this moment because of an exciting new initiative that I hope you will appreciate and you will carry out. Birthright Israel is developing something that is going to be quite sensational. For every young Jew who steps off their URJ bus with that "just back from Israel" glow, this is an invitation to explore. For every parent who has wondered, now what? This is a turning point. For you who have been developing compelling, engaging programming in your congregations and throughout the movement, but see a greater good further reach, this is the opportunity. For Michael Steinhardt and me, as well as all those who are associated with Birthright, this is the strategic, scalable next step. Imagine when every Birthright alum smartphone is able to provide her or him with access to Jewish events in his or her city, along with links to Jewish resources therein. That app will be available not in the next decade and not in the next 5 years. It'll be available in 2016. Thank you. Making that next step easy, diverse, and attractive is central to this initiative, but that was not enough. This platform is being built with data at its core. It's created to tell you stories about how your returning members are feeding and that ignited spark at home, on campus, online, and on their terms. We are creating this tool with your programming, your input, and our shared young Jewish lives in every decision. And when we're ready to test out the draft version, we will be looking to you to make it even better. Now, folks, I'm going to introduce a conundrum. Here are some numbers. I'm not much of a numbers man, but I just have to give a few numbers. And I'd like you to grapple with these numbers. On Birthright Israel trips, the participants are 4.5% Orthodox, 22% conservative, 37.5% Reform, 30% just Jewish, and 7% other. Now, by December of this year, for 2015, we'll have had close to 30,000 participants from this country. Now, of those numbers, there is some therefore you have 75% of all those going as a market for you. 75% are either Reform, just Jewish, or other. That translates to your market in the United States of these 22,500 young adults who could be going on Reform-sponsored trips. But is that so? Very unfortunately, not even close. And who is the largest trip provider? Chabad. And who performs the largest number of conversions? Chabad. And who is the largest provider of post-trip opportunities? Chabad again. Surely you should be the largest trip provider, the largest instrument of conversion, and the largest provider of post-trip opportunities. You, not Chabad, but you. It would seem to me that Reform rabbis and congregations have a golden opportunity. You will have access to all adult education research. Brandeis, under our auspices, has the largest database of young Jews in history. This data is available to you to design programming which will serve your congregations for the next generation. On that building where I now live, and which was inaugurated by Rabbi Eisendrath, he imprinted for all time the words of the prophet Micah: do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with thy God. How blessed are we to have the opportunity to pass this on to the next generations. Yes, it is our exciting time. I thank you for this award. I thank you for this partnership. May it continue l'dor v'dor. Thank you.
Please welcome the President of the Union for Reform Judaism, Rabbi Rick Jacobs.
It is my honor to say a word about Charles Bronfman and also a word about the URJ and Birthright Israel. Charles first, appropriately. Perhaps what is most remarkable about Charles Bronfman's approach to Birthright Israel is that for him, it's not extraordinary at all. It is simply a natural continuation of his life's work and of making the communities of which he is a part stronger. In his many remarkable careers as a businessman and a philanthropist and more, he has left each institution he has touched better than he found it, and in so doing has gifted his successors with a project on which to grow even further. A key part of Charles' philanthropy has been outreach to our youth. So it is no surprise that Birthright Israel is one of the cornerstones of his philanthropy. Today, the program's many alumni are building their identities and lives as Jews, connected to Israel and connected to each other. What a gift he has given them and us as a Jewish people. So tonight, I'm pleased to share with you that the URJ is committing itself to Charles's challenge. That's a pretty audacious challenge you put before us. Yeah, there are other movements in Jewish life doing pretty well with Birthright. But as you said rightfully, these are our young people. This is our gateway, and this is our practice of audacious hospitality. So I'm going to tell you, Charles, we are going to meet that challenge. And more. So in the coming years, we're never going to stop growing our numbers and, most importantly, increasing the impact of these transformational trips. How are we going to meet that goal? With your help. Each of you has a ticket on your seat. You're probably sitting on it. Just reach underneath there and pull out your ticket. As Rabbi Henning and Rachel Katz reminded us, it is a ticket to the trip of a lifetime. Please begin to think about the young people you know between the ages of 18 and 25, especially those who are not yet connected to Jewish life, those who would be transformed by the Birthright Israel experience. And when you get back home, you have the opportunity to give them that gift. Give them this ticket. Tell them what it can mean for them. Personally, encourage them to go. And if you need more tickets, we got them. Don't worry. Visit the Birthright Israel and Kesher booths in the exhibit hall, and we'll set you up. Together we realize and will indeed meet this challenge, and we will multiply the Birthright Israel vision together. And we can make Birthright Israel an even greater part of what it means to be a young Jewish adult today. As Theodor Herzl, another visionary of the Jewish people, once famously said, Im tirtzu ein zo agada. If you will it, dreams come true. Thank you.